Hi everyone, welcome to the final episode of The Bachelor, but make it The Sims. Last week we saw the ladies and Elliot go on a fun camping trip and really get to test their outdoor abilities and skills and see how friendly they were or were not with the animals. And we also saw Brianna go home, leaving it down to Lena and Eve. Now, because this is the final episode, I thought it would be a lot of fun to have them do hometowns. So we are going to meet Elliot's parents in a few minutes, and then he'll have a chance to meet Lena and Eve's parents as well. So Elliot's parents are based in Willow Creek, and they're coming to sit down in the living room, and Elliot just immediately starts drinking. I'm going to say that he was nervous. He was able to hold his liquor this time, but I think this might just be a trait of his now. So anyway, as you can see, this is his father, and I think he looks like a pretty good mix of both his father and his mother. So the ladies were able to introduce themselves and get a chance to talk to his parents, and I think that his mom really seemed to take a liking to Lena right away. It also could just be because Lena was talking so much and not really giving Eve as much of a chance to speak, but it was interesting because then Eve sort of really connected with his dad, so kind of like an opposites thing going on here, which I thought was really interesting. And later, when Elliot's mom is making brunch, he decides to go ahead and ask her, what she thinks, what her first impression is. And she honestly didn't really have a ton of thoughts. I mean, it was still pretty early on, so she was kind of just like, yeah, they're fine. I think they seem nice, but I don't know them super well. So he wanted to go ahead and kind of, give his mom more details about who these ladies are and really kind of explain what he likes about each of them. And in the other room, Eve was making his dad just crack up. I mean, she's a comedian. She's the OG hot dog girl. So it's not super surprising that they really seemed to hit it off. So later, once brunch was finished cooking, they all sat down to eat, and naturally Lena gravitated again towards Elliot's mom, and they really talked most of the time. And Eve did get a chance to talk with Elliot's mom, but I would say it was still mostly Lena dominating that conversation for majority of the morning, while Eve kind of just stayed at the end of the table, continuing to crack jokes with Elliot's dad. So later on, you can see Elliot outside with his parents while the ladies were still inside, and he was really starting to feel conflicted at this point. I mean, these are two ladies who have shown a lot of potential, and he's really come a long way with, and he was just seeking, some advice from his parents on what they thought about the whole situation. And inside, Lena was kind of just like going in on Eve because the competition was getting serious, and here you can see them actually saying goodbye because Eve's family was next on the list and Lena was not coming along for that. So we get to Eve's house and she immediately, hugs her father, and then Elliot comes over to also hug him and introduce himself. And I thought this was just so funny. I mean, this was their one friendly moment, because then from the rest of the point on, Eve's dad was just not feeling it, was not into Elliot, did not like the situation. And you could really just tell that he was not a fan in general of his daughter being on a reality TV show. I mean, they even sat down with a hot pot meal and he refused to eat. I mean, I think he was just so angry and so annoyed that he just didn't want any food. So Eve's mom really had to carry that conversation, and she was a lot more friendly and open. And you can also see Eve's younger brother there as well. He was a little more shy, but definitely not as annoyed as the father was. So then Elliot gets up to go play with the dog and kind of give them a chance to chat. And, Eve asks her parents what they think of Elliot. And honestly, they had a pretty similar reaction to Elliot's parents. You'll see it too again with Lena's family. I think this might be the only response for when you meet someone. But after dinner, they decided to go on a really cute walk/hike, and it was just very scenic and romantic, and they had several just very cutesy kind of moments. And I thought that this was a really cool way to see Elliot and Eve bond in a way that they haven't really before. So you can see them kind of just hiking through the trails and stopping on this little bridge to have a moment. And I just thought that this was so cute and such a beautiful kind of area and scene. And then they have this moment later where they're holding hands, and I actually got this pop-up saying "hold me closer," and this was Eve starting to like physical intimacy. And I thought this was such a cool way to kind of see her growth throughout the series. And so of course she had to like accept that, and then they have a cute little kiss, and I really loved seeing this happen for them because she's really struggled with that, and they even share another kiss on the bridge on the way back. So overall, I think that meeting Eve's parents went really, really well. So then we can see the next day they're at Lena's house and going up to knock on the door to meet Lena's family. And overall, I thought that their meeting was pretty good as well. I mean, she's got a little bit bigger of a family than Eve does. She has a younger sister and a younger brother, but I thought that they were all getting along pretty well. So here you can see her very suburban parents. I mean, they're out here in San Sequoia in this very cute house. And you can actually see that this is kind of where Lena's dad starts to get this mean scowl on his face. I thought this was really funny because it was unprompted and unplanned, but both fathers seem to not really like the company of Elliot, although they did share this moment one-on-one together and get to talk and get to know each other a little bit better while Lena was in the kitchen with her mom, just kind of talking things over and processing the whole experience being on the show. And then her brother comes in to kind of give his 2 cents as well. So I thought that this meeting went probably as well as it could have gone. I mean, they seem to both have a really good time. And then later, Lena's talking to her father while Elliot's kind of just wandering around in the kitchen. And, you know, he's giving her his advice. And she also got a pop-up, but it was more for being chaotic. So whatever that means. And then later they share a moment together out in the backyard, and they're kind of just talking. This is really, you know, some of their final moments together, although they will have a little bit of a chance to connect again back at the Bachelor Mansion before the final rose ceremony. But overall, you know, they're just kind of talking and recapping the day, and I think that they both had a really good time getting to spend the day with her family. So back at the Bachelor Mansion the next day, this is almost kind of like a fantasy suite sort of thing. It's staying PG, so there's nothing that, you know, gets too wild, but they do get to spend this night together. Both Lena and Eve have a chance to do that, so Eve is just the one who went first. And while they were sharing a very cutesy moment on the couch, Lena was back in her room pretending to be at the final rose ceremony and getting the rose. So she's just doing her thing, and I thought this was just a really kind of silly moment of her trying on outfits. Then Eve and Elliot also got a chance to check out and test out the hot tub. Again, not getting too wild here, but the rest of the night they kind of just hung out in the fantasy suite talking and getting their last few moments in together. And then here you can see Lena having her turn in the fantasy suite with Elliot, so they spent an evening in here as well, just talking, getting to share some final moments, and also trying out the hot tub. So they didn't really do a ton else in here other than getting to talk. I didn't want to break the rules of the challenge, so I kept things pretty mild. And then Elliot has, you know, his whole very dramatic moment before the final rose ceremony. So here we are with Lena and Eve waiting it out to see which one of them is going to get the final rose. So without further ado, So there you have it. Our beautiful hot dog girl won the heart of the Bachelor. Be sure to watch the bonus episode, which will be their wedding. And I had so much fun making this series. So if you have an idea for the next Let's Play I should do, please let me know in the comments below. But thank you so much for watching The Bachelor, but make it The Sims. I'll see you next time.